good morning or afternoon. It's afternoon. Good afternoon. We're going to do a little afternoon chair yoga. So I've positioned myself pretty close to the edge of the chair here. We're going to do some sun salutations, seated salutations to start off. So we're going to inhale, reach the arms up overhead, stretch. And then exhale, you can bring your hands down, fold forward. So you're folding over your legs. Then we're going to come into a kind of cobra shape. Lift in the heart, pull the elbows back. You don't have to overdo it with the neck. Exhale, come on back, round the back like a cat. Sit up tall. We're going to reach up and then twist towards one side. Doesn't matter which one, just go one direction. Pause there, take a big breath. Come back to the middle and then twist the other way. Pause there, take a big breath. And come back to the middle. We're going to side bend, so one elbow to one leg, stretch over the side. Come back up, big inhale. And then exhale over the other way. Come back up, big inhale. And then bring the arms down. And pause, take a big breath. That's our little seated mountain pose. And we're going to inhale, arms go up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into cobra. Exhale to cat. Inhale, get tall. Exhale to twist. Take a breath. All the way back at the tippy top of that breath. Exhale, twist the other way. Take a breath. Come all the way back. Exhale, fold over sideways. Inhale, back to the middle. Exhale, tip over sideways. Inhale, back to the middle. Arms down, mountain pose. Let's do two more, big breath. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, cat. Inhale, big stretch. Exhale, twist. Inhale. Come on back at the very top. Exhale, twist. Inhale. Exhale, side bend. Inhale to the middle and stretch. Exhale, side bend. Inhale to the middle, stretch. Arms come down, exhale. I might still have a hair in my mouth. All right, take a big breath. Oh, life with animals. Inhale, come on, back up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, cat. Inhale, nice big stretch. Exhale, twist. Inhale, hold steady. Coming back at the tippy top of the twist. Exhale the other way. Inhale. Coming back at the tippy top of that inhale. Exhale, side bend. Inhale up, big stretch. Exhale your side bend. Inhale up, big stretch. Exhale, arms come down. Pause there in our mountain pose. All right, drop your chin down. We're going to roll the head up and over one shoulder and back, and up and over the other shoulder and back. We're just going to go back and forth like that now that we're a little bit warmer. Hopefully it'll still feel good. Now when we get to the center, we're going to float the head up and keeping the chin mostly level. I'm going to turn and see how far behind me I can look, and then come back. Turn, see how far behind me I can look, and then come back. Now, we're going to keep the eyes closed and turn and look behind us, but without opening our eyes yet. Turn your eyes to the opposite side. So I turn my head left. So I'm going to turn my eyes to the right and see if I can get my head around a tiny bit more. Then I'm going to open my eyes and look to the right. Come back to the center. So I'm going to keep my eyes closed, turn my head all the way to the right, look to the left, Okay, see if my head will rotate any more. Then I'm going to open my eyes and turn them to the right. And then come on back to the center. So there's some nerves in the neck that also work on the back of the eye. So we're just trying to give those a little bit of a movement. We're going to do a little eye exercise to continue that. So we're going to keep the head completely level, but we're going to move just the eyeballs. So you're going to look up and then look down as far as you can look. Look up and then look down. Make sure you don't tilt your head. Look up and then look down. We're going to do it one more time. Look up and then look down. Come back to the center, and again, without turning the head, we're going to look left and then right. Look left. It's so hard sometimes not to turn your head. And then look right. Look left. Then look right. One more time. Look left. Then look right. Come back to the middle. Now, we're going to take the eyes through a clock face, and you're going, whatever that's in your mind, whichever direction that goes, doesn't matter. But we're going to look up at noon. Then you're going to move your eyes to 1 o'clock without moving your head. 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock. 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. And 12. We're going to go backwards. 11. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And then back to noon. Alright, so you're going to get your hands nice and warm. Close your eyes. Try to let your eyeballs themselves relax, and we're just going to cup our warmed palms right over our eyes for a few moments. Just to let the muscles in the eyes relax a bit. Alright. So if your eyes have been fixed in one place for a large portion of the day, doing these little eye exercises from time to time can help relieve tension in the areas of the body where the cranial nerves go. So to the eyes, to the facial muscles, to the neck, out through the back of the skull. So in addition to like relieving tension from our shoulders, we can relieve tension from our eyes to help with that as well. So it kind of lowers our stress too. So we're going to take the arms up, around, and back, or at least see if it does for you. It works for me. So we're just moving the shoulders in a circle. Good. One more. And then go the other direction with your shoulder circles. Right. So we're going to turn sideways on our chair, and then we're going to back up a little bit so that our knees are really close to the edge of the chair. And for me, it means my feet won't touch completely, but that's all right because I'm not going anywhere right away. We're going to turn towards the back of the chair, and then we're going to use the hand to help hold ourselves. But before we get too excited, we're going to take a moment and just get a little bit taller, and we're going to lift up through the back of the skull, and then we're going to see if we can take up any more room, and then put your hand in place to hold yourself on your chair if it's available to you to do that. Then we're going to do this movement with the head, so we're going to turn the head the opposite direction, and then back over the first direction, and then the opposite direction, and back over the first direction, and just notice which way seems a little bit nicer for you, because we're going to hold that for a couple breaths. So I am liking turning my head this way, And it really, in some ways, depends on what muscle in your neck is the tightest as to which one will feel better. So I'm gonna sit up a little taller, keep the back of my neck quite long, see if I've got a tiny bit more room to spin now, and then I'm gonna turn my head, if it's available, a little bit more in that direction, trying not to drag my whole torso with it. And then I'm gonna breathe. I'm going to take 2 more breaths. Now I'm going to unwind my neck first, come back to neutral, let go of the chair, unwind my spine, and then I'm not going to come all the way back, but I'm going to come back about halfway. I hear sounds. Telltale sounds of tiny fur co-workers getting themselves into trouble. All right. So I'm going to stretch one leg out here to the side, and you might decide you want your foot turned in or out. So this is kind of our warrior 2 setup here. And then keeping our neck relatively free of tension, we're going to bring our arms up, and then we're going to move between this reverse warrior and side angle pose. And reverse warrior and side angle. And reverse warrior and side angle. Now we're going to pause with the side angle. I'm going to bring my hip forward in space so I have a little bit more room to stretch out, and I might turn my armpit the other way. So my hip going that way and my arm coming down gives me a little bit of extra room here. We're going to take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to come back up. I'm going to move this leg back where it came from. I'm going to come around all the way to the center here. And then I'm going to pause for just a moment. And rinse out. All right, we're going to do the other side. So we're going to turn this way. And again, I'm going to come all the way around, but I'm going to get right on the edge so that I have a lot of, it's going to set me up for my supported warrior 2. So again, I'm going to turn a little bit, but I'm not going to go crazy yet. I'm just going to kind of put my arms up here just to give myself a place to rest. Then I'm going to get taller, and especially through the back of the skull. I'm going to see if I can come around a little bit more, get the shoulders around a little bit more, then holding onto the chair, turn my head, and I'm going to turn it back to the first direction, like back over the shoulder, and then back. So I'm going to go back and forth, try to keep the back of the neck relatively long. And then you're just going to pick a direction. Do you want to keep going that direction with your head? Do you want to look the opposite direction with your head? And then pause with whatever choice you made. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. Yogis, I'm going to come out of this twist. So I take my head back first, take the spine around, I'm going to come around, kind of keeping myself pretty close to the edge of the chair. I'm going to take this opposite leg out for the warrior 2 shape. And again, I might have to do a little bit of fiddling to get my hips in the just right orientation. And then bring yourself to that warrior 2. And again, we want to make sure that whatever is happening, because the chair is a little bit artificial in terms of how it aligns our body. So we'll just work with it the best we can, come into reverse, and then over to a side angle, and then to a reverse, and into a side angle. Oh, feels nice to stretch between those two places. Over and back, and over and back. And again, we're going to stay right here. I'm going to bring my hip forward and my armpit down to give myself the maximum amount of stretch in that shape. I'm also pushing with my toes a little bit so I have a little resistance against the floor. One more nice big breath. And we're going to come out of here. So we're going to bring this leg around, bring this leg around. Give ourselves a moment here in the middle. Now we're going to do some poses standing up, including a downward dog on the chair. So make sure that if your chair has wheelies on the bottom, that they're locked in place so your chair won't get away from you. I'm going to move my chair a little bit this way so I'll stay inside the view of the camera, and then I'm going to back myself up. Now my hands are resting on the base of the chair. You could also rest your hands on the top of your chair, and then we're going to pull back so the head is going to go between the arms so that the ears are pretty close to level. If it feels like you're hunching your shoulders, see if you can bring your shoulders down your back, make a little bit more room for your head, and then lean back through your hips. You might need to wiggle your feet back a little bit. It's a nice downward facing dog for here. Oh. I'm going to take one more big breath with this. All right, so we're going to turn this into a balancing pose. So I'm going to get close enough that my shoulders pretty much fall right over my wrist or pretty close. I'm going to take my right arm off the floor or off the chair first. And if you're a little bit challenged by the balance, you can hold onto the chair, either down low or use the top of the chair. Then we're going to take the left leg off and try to stretch between those 2 points. So reaching out nice and long in the spinal balance. Try to connect to your core a little bit. One more big breath here, and then we're going to bring the hand down and then the leg down. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if you were using the back of the chair, you just want to turn your chair or you move to the other side. I didn't use it, so I'm going to stay where I am. We're going to take the right leg back and then the left arm out and stretch between those 2 points. And again, feel yourself connect to your core. Draw up through the navel. Don't forget to breathe. And we're going to take one more breath, and then we're going to come back. Now, we're going to try to do a little bit of a balancing action using the chair as a base. If the chair is too tall for this, then you can skip this and just stand upright and do the twist without. So we're going to put one foot up on the chair. I'm going to stand nice and tall on the leg that's on the floor, and then I'm going to turn and bring both arms out so I have a revolved toe balance with the foot resting on a chair. And for some of us, this is enough of a balance challenge. For others, this won't be that hard, but we're here together. I'm going to take one more breath, and then we're going to come back. Now we're going to try that same action, but with the leg in the air. So we're going to put both hands on the chair. I'm going to extend that leg back behind me, and then I'm going to rotate. Oops, hold on, I got to do the other leg. Extend the right leg back, and then rotate so that I have that rotation. Now doing it with the leg in the air, leg on the ground, hand on the chair. Everything else rotates. If that didn't make sense, just do what you think is right. It'll work out. Okay, last breath. And then we're going to do the opposite side. So bring your leg back down. Come back up. I'm going to put my right foot up on the chair. I did my left foot last time. And then again, This might be enough, so I'm going to turn towards this leg and extend both my arms out. So I've got like a revolved half moon or a big toe balance. Stand strong on the leg that's on the floor. I'm going to come back. I'm going to put this foot down. Now I'm going to stand strong on that leg that was on the chair. I'm going to lift the opposite leg and then rotate. So I've got a revolved half moon, similar pose. Now maybe a little bit trickier. Or maybe the first one was too tricky, I don't know. Take one more breath, and we'll bring both feet in. And we're gonna come back to our friend downward facing dog. I think it's a friend anyway. We'll back it up. Find your way into a nice long stretch. And again, don't hunch your shoulders up towards your ears. See if you can get your shoulders lower into your back. Make a little bit of room for your ears to be in there. Breath. And then we're going to walk ourselves back together. And we're going to bring ourselves back to the chair for a little hip opener. Right. So when you're done with whatever it is that you're up to, you can come back to a seated position. And we're going to scooch a little bit close to the edge, just so that we've got a little bit of room for movement. You're going to pick one leg up. Now, if you can, hold onto the thigh and the foot. If you can't hold your thigh and your foot, you can just wobble the leg back and forth, okay? But if you can hold on, we're going to rock the baby. And we're trying to get movement in the hip joint, so rather than slide around on your butt, see if you could just move that femur bone. And then lift up tall. We're going to see if we can cross the shin over the top of the other thigh. Now for some of us, this is going to be too spicy. So you can put the foot across the shin bone instead, and that might be just enough rotation there for you. Sit up nice and tall. That might be plenty of space. If you need a little bit more action in your hip, fold forward. Try to keep a little bit of length in the breastbone and the back of the neck. We're going to take a couple more deep breaths, yogis. Now we're going to back off a little bit. We're going to release the leg from up top. We're going to give ourselves a little jiggle. Pause for a second and feel. And just try to notice, like, do I feel a difference on the left side of my body versus the right side of my body? Does the hip feel the same on both sides? Do the legs feel the same on both sides? Might be different. So we're gonna grab hold of our other trusty thigh here. Give it a little wobble. And then we're gonna put that guy across. And again, it might go across the bottom instead of the top thigh bone in the leg. Sit up nice and tall, and that might be plenty of sensation. If there's enough sensation, don't go any further. If you need a little bit more, tilt forward, keep the breastbone lifted, keep the back of the neck long. And we'll hold steady right there. Notice your breath. We're going to do 2 more big ones. So we're going to float ourselves up. We're going to release that leg. Give everything a little bit of a shimmy. We're going to do one more nice pose while we're here. So we're going to take the legs out wide. And I like to slide back on my chair a little bit, and you can straighten the legs a little more or keep them quite bent. So this will be up to you. We're gonna fold forward, and it might be just a little bit is all you need. Some people might find it's kind of nice to let the elbows rest on the thighs, and then some of us might come all the way in here and let the back get in a shape that feels good. So for some people it's gonna be best if their head stays level with their hips, and then others of us might feel okay to let the head drop down. Just be mindful of your back and how, if it makes you dizzy. And 2 more breaths here. Now we're going to pick ourselves up slow. So we're going to come to a flat back, hands on the thighs, and then come all the way up. And if you need a little longer, that still felt a little bit abrupt, or you got a little bit dizzy, just come up a little slower next time. So we're going to sit on the chair in a way that feels kind of even and nice. Excuse me. I may or may not have breathed in a bunch of ferret fur. Anyway, we're going to take a moment. And there's fur on my shirt, see? We're going to take a moment and work some magic with our wrists and hands. So we're going to do a little bit of circles with the hand, with the wrists, and then we're going to circle the other direction. And then we're going to lace the fingers together, and we're going to try to make a little wave pattern with the wrists. Let's look at the fingers moving too, but we're going to do more with the fingers in a second. But see if you can get kind of a wave going, one wrist and then the other. And then if you can, don't think about it too much, but see if you can switch the directions. All right, so now we're going to pause for a moment, spread the fingers out wide. We're going to try to keep the thumb coming backwards as we pull backwards through the wrist. So I'm stretching my thumb back. This helps with the thumb that gets a little overdone on the mouse or on the keyboard or on the phone. And then we're going to let the hand drop and do a little stretch here of the wrist. I'm going to release that a little bit. Okay, we're going to come back to that hand in a second. But this hand, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to stretch the hand out like stop in the name of love. I'm going to bring this thumb back as I pull back a little bit through my wrist. Just enough to feel something interesting, not too much, shouldn't be pinchy. Stretch that thumb out and back. Good, and then we're gonna drop the hand the other direction, try to get a little bit on the top of the hand, forearm here. All right, so now we're gonna do big fingers, stretch them apart as big as you can, like there's lightning bolts shooting out of your fingers, and then curl them in nice and snug. Make a good fist. Spread them out really big. So you can get bigger between the fingers and then curl them in. Spread them out. Work the finger joints between these little guys. Try to make those bigger. And then curl them in. And one more time. Everything as big and as wide apart as possible. And then curl them in. And then we're just going to pause for a moment and find sort of a meditation posture. I like to rest my hands on my thighs and make sure that I'm sitting up in a way that makes my spine feel tall and mostly self-suspended. Make sure your head feels like it's level in space. We're pretty close. And then close your eyes and just notice the breath. yogis, see if you can take 3 more breaths and lengthen the exhale gently out. Notice if your heart rate slows down as you take those long exhales. So take a big breath. Let go with a big sigh. And then let you go off to have some lunch. Thank you so much for joining me for Lunchtime Chair Yoga. Have a great rest of your day.